Hey, good morning. Can you hear me okay? I think there's a couple people in the chat already. Let me know. Sweet. Again, I have no real agenda. I'm just going to go live just to screw around for a little bit, but figure what the heck. I would bring this up and let me. Perfect, perfect. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to go live in just a sec. I actually think I will share this out on social media. See who else might want to join or yell at me. It's always fun. ASM. You know what? I have no idea what ASMR means. Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old because I don't know. Hey, what's going on, G Shorter? Said I will go live in just a second here. Oh, I'll try my best on that then. Hey, happy Thursday. Appreciate you being here. Like I said, I'm going to go live in just a second here. You know what? One thing, I will answer that question in just a second. Give me a moment and I will pull this up. Okay. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? I hope you can hear me okay. I hope everything looks good on screen. Just let me know. The one and only Paris Lily. That's funny. So one thing was asking me, wait, where is it at? Oh, there it is. He's saying, Paris, what's worse, console warrior fanboys or football club fights between fans? Yes, this is Towerborn. This is just some footage I captured a couple weeks ago when I put out a video about it. I've been playing the early access on and off over the past few months, so just wanted to show off something. I believe they're going to have an update soon, so there should be more Towerborn information coming out pretty soon, but we'll have to stand by on that. But to answer that question about console fanboy stuff and the football, yeah, I'd rather have the football club fights, honestly, because those are people that are just genuinely passionate about their teams. Yeah, they're knuckleheads too, but it's a passion out of sports and all that. Whereas the console war stuff is just ridiculous. I mean, at the end of the day, it's video games. Play what you want, where you want. Who cares? Why do you care where someone else plays a game? That's how I look at it personally. But, to each their own. Yeah, as far as Towerborn early access, and I've talked to the team multiple times. I even have a video on the channel where I played Towerborn with the creative director and I believe the game director as well. And, we talked about it on stream. I've talked about it offline as well. This was a decision that Stoic made, and Xbox obviously supported it to go early access on Steam first because it allowed them to be more flexible as far as making changes and updates. Whereas console, they got to go through the whole certification process, all these things. So they knew not everyone was going to be happy about it. And, they have a plan to roll it out to Xbox this year, I believe via Game Pass. So I'm just anticipating, just like everybody else, when that news comes out, which I think will be soon, but we'll see. No, there's no fight club between myself and Reforge. Here's the truth on that, since I know people are going to ask me anyways. Here's my issue with Reforge Gaming, and people can clip this and put it whatever they want. My issue is I know Lono. We've talked privately. I used to go on his streams when he was big in the Destiny community. So this isn't like some random person I don't know. We've had private conversations. I mean, probably as recently as a year ago. You know what I mean? So I know him. His past, I don't hold against him. It is what it is. People make mistakes and you move on from that. My issue is him pivoting his content into flaming this whole console war nonsense and making accusations about myself, Destin, some other people that just simply aren't true. Like, to say that the Phil Spencer interview we did was a talking point from Xbox leadership it's insulting, number one, because, like I said, it's just simply not true, but it's insulting because me, we've talked privately. Again, if you ever have an issue with me, you can easily reach out to me, but to make a just blanket accusation, I am probably not even saying it right, but to accuse myself and others of doing stuff like that versus maybe we just work hard. Maybe we've been in the industry a long time. Maybe, yes, I've been lucky enough to get access to be able to talk to the CEO of Microsoft Gaming and other people in leadership positions and ask them questions that I think people want to hear versus trying to flame this whole console war nonsense of, what is his word now? AstroTurfing or whatever. I just think it's ridiculous. And the reason I even said anything, and honestly, I was just replying to someone when I said something about him being a tabloid, because it's tabloid. It's, let me throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. Let me say something that's crazy, and that'll get people to engage with me. It's like, I don't do that stuff. And I had reached out to him privately and he ignored it. So that told me right there, you don't want to have a good faith conversation. You just simply want to say things in public to get a reaction. So it is what it is. You move on. I assume he's still probably talking about it, which is fine. But, I got bigger and better things to do. And what else do we have? Interview they made irrelevant months. Do you think my Steam content will progress to Xbox? I think what you're talking about. So again, this is speculation because I don't know 100%. But if you look at Indiana Jones and you look at Avowed, Xbox is clearly enabling all of their games to have Xbox cloud save to go back and forth between a Steam and the console. I'm not 100% sure if they'll be able to do that on PlayStation or Nintendo. I would hope that they would. That way, no matter where you're playing the game, no matter where you buy the game, your progress can follow you to other platforms. Obviously, the advantage you would have buying your game through the Xbox store is you can play it on an Xbox console and you can play it on PC or cloud stream it and your progress will follow you. But if you do buy it on Steam, you can still have your progress go to Steam and then go back to the console back and forth. So Danny Pena. Yeah, matter of fact, Danny and we're going to interview Peter Moore here. God, like hour and a half, something like that. We're going to sit down and talk with Peter Moore. So that should be a fun conversation. 20 years, it's been 20 years of the Xbox 360. Obviously, he was running it back then. So to kind of get that legacy perspective from him, I definitely want to talk to him about the current state of the industry and what he thinks as well, since he's completely removed from it. So it should be a good, fun conversation. Looking forward to that. No, and I appreciate that, Grindstone. Grindstone saying, Parris, what I see is a dedicated games content creator with heart, dedication, and history in the field. And here's the thing, not my day job. I don't rely on gaming to put food on the table and to take care of my family, right? I talk about gaming and stuff just because I love it. I always have. I mean, ever since listening to that episode of Gamertag Radio way back in 2005 and then seeing Danny and Chris at an Xbox event, I decided, hey, I would love to be able to do some of this stuff too. And I've just been doing it ever since. And, you know, you're not, for lack of a better term, successful early on. You do it because you love it. And, you know, it takes a long time. It took a very long time for me to get to the position that I'm at now, where I do have more access. I am able to reach out to people and get early access to games, access to, you know, people in leadership positions in the gaming industry, host events, stuff like that. It took a very long time to do that. But the overwhelming thing about it is I do it because it's fun. I do it because I love to do it. And the day that it's no longer fun, I will just simply stop. You know, I'm not afraid, you know, to give my opinion clearly when I see nonsense out there. And, you know, I understand I have my critics as well, and you accept it and you move on. But my advice to anybody that does content creation is do it because you love to do it, period. And I see Nick with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I do really appreciate it. How hyped are you for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4? I'm super hyped for it. Not my thing. I mean, I understand the hype behind it. Like my brother-in-law is super hyped for it. You know, Tim over at Kind of Funny, super hyped for it. I mean, I get the audience. I know this is a big deal that it's coming, and then the potential of future Tony Hawk games coming as well. So not for me personally, but I get it. And I totally understand why you're super excited for it. So, okay, one thing, let's answer this. Parris, the problem is Phil, etc., saying one thing 3 years ago and every year another thing. They should take Nintendo and PlayStation approach and just don't do interviews. Yes and no. I know what you mean. My thing is this. Yes, clearly they were saying different things 3 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Exclusivity did matter to them. Acquiring Bethesda at the time was about exclusivity. Activision changed everything. It just simply did. You don't invest $80-90 billion and, you know, you got to get a return on investment. Do I agree with the approach? No. Do I understand it? Yes. And I think that's the thing a lot of people need to wrap their head around is I can scream and yell, you know, till the cows come home about how I feel about it. And as a lot of other people feel about it, but they've made it clear they're doing the multi-platform approach. They're now going to lessen the incentive of you buying their hardware moving forward. But at the same time, it looks like they're upping the quality on their games and they're being more consistent with their releases. So you have to ask yourself this question. What do you care more about? A game that only people with an Xbox can play, or just great games, period? I mean, that's what it comes down to. If they're delivering great games, if they're delivering great experiences, and you have the option of playing it on an Xbox or playing it on a PlayStation or Nintendo PC or wherever, does it ultimately matter? And like I said, I've said in the past, I don't agree with them doing this mid-gen. I wish they would have done it at the start of a generation. That way people can make an educated choice on the hardware that they're making, because people clearly back in 2020, 2021 bought an Xbox because they thought that was the only place they could play Xbox games unless they wanted to build a PC. That has now changed. So that would be my critique on it. Of course, I think the day that Gears and Halo show up on PlayStation is going to be freaking weird, but eventually we'll adjust to it and we'll move on. And let's see what else we go. Let's go getting ready to play Split Fiction. You know, I have it and I've not played it. I mean, I know Danny and Ree reviewed it. I know guys over at Kind of Funny reviewed it. I unfortunately didn't have anybody to play with, and I've been sick and stuff, so I didn't play it. I definitely need to do that with my kids as well. And Falcor saying, Parris, I saw Luke Stevens speculate the new Xbox console could be slated for 2026 to get ahead of PS6. Is it wishful thinking? I think 2026 is wishful thinking. 2027 makes more sense to me. That would be extremely aggressive on their part to basically end the Series X and S generation in 2026 and then move forward, you know, with whatever they're doing. But we'll see. I could be wrong. What the hell do I know? My guess is 2027, personally. I would imagine PlayStation 6 is probably 2028 along those lines. So we'll see. We will see. And let me pull up a new video. Let's see what we got here. All right, keep this going here. But yeah, that would be, and this is South of Midnight. This was just some initial gameplay I had pulled off my Xbox because we couldn't do it on PC, so I couldn't properly capture everything. So this was just like the game capture at 720p directly off the Series X at the time. And Thomas is saying, do generations still exist at this point? PS4 and Xbox One are getting back ports. Yeah, and that's the other thing that you have to think about is we're in, what's the word I'm looking for? This generation is vastly different than previous game generations, where they've not abandoned the previous hardware. People haven't necessarily upgraded to the new hardware. That's why your biggest selling games are still playable on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. As an example, what is like the biggest game? Call of Duty. They're already saying the next Call of Duty is still going to be on PS4 and Xbox One. Obviously, Fortnite is still playable on previous generations. We're not seeing enough next gen only titles, of the big stuff. Clearly something like South of Midnight, obviously Avowed, we're seeing that slowly but surely. But this generation, compared to others, years upon years of cross-gen support versus we did not see that previously. Maybe the first year, and then you move on to current gen only. So yeah, it's definitely changing as far as that goes. Ooh, yeah. So it's asking me what is my thoughts on the scalp prices of the NVIDIA RTX 50 series. It's egregious. It's ridiculous. This reminds me a lot of when the 30 series came out. And obviously there was a lot of crypto mining and stuff back then where the prices just skyrocketed, but you're even seeing it again. And I guess even with these new AMD cards coming out, they're expecting, sure, the initial launch may have lower prices, but they're expecting those prices to be outrageous as well. So yeah, I hate the scalping stuff. I hate that the average person can't just simply go to a website, order the card, maybe you wait a week or two and you get it. Now it's this whole game of trying to find it, dealing with all these scripted AI bots that are buying up all the stuff ahead of time, and then you got to go to an eBay or something and see it at double, even triple the price of what it is. Yeah, so not a fan. Yeah, and Thomas is talking about Jedi Survivor. Yeah, that's a great example where it started off next gen only, and they're like, wait, enough people didn't buy it. Let's put it on the previous gen, which also tells you the game could have been on the previous gen from the get go. So that's another thing as well. I really think, and this is my opinion, we'll see, but I really think we're going to see more and more the PC model being adopted, where these games are just going to scale across various performance degrees of hardware. So yeah, I do think previous generations of hardware are going to stay in play, just like we obviously see that with PC today. I just think that's what's going to happen, but we'll obviously see. Nintendo will be interesting because I don't imagine Nintendo necessarily doing this. I would think their initial launch lineup, you'll see games that are still compatible with the original Switch, but I think they will definitely move on, to go Switch 2 only, because people buy Nintendo hardware. I mean, that's just how it is because it's more affordable. I would imagine Switch 2 at launch is probably going to be $399. And then a year later, I mean, obviously we'll see with all these crazy tariffs and stuff, you'll see a price drop on that. You'll see different variants of the Switch 2 come out. So Nintendo expects you to buy new hardware from them, and they synergize their software accordingly. Whereas I don't think Xbox and PlayStation necessarily does that anymore. Sure, you get things like the DualSense and all that does some unique things that the competitor doesn't do. But at the end of the day, these boxes are essentially the same. They're all running AMD, CPUs, GPUs are virtually identical, and you just play games on them. And then obviously you bring it up to PC and you scale from there. So we'll see. And am I going to watch the moon landing? I didn't know it was being televised. I guess I assumed that it was. I haven't paid enough attention to it. I probably should have. I was really more interested in Artemis and what they were doing with Artemis. And now I know that's been delayed, but yeah, I'll have to check that out. Oh, how you doing, Jamie? All the way from Ireland. Appreciate that. Now I'm scrolling back up. I see other people are making comments here. They're flying by so fast. And let's see, Gooby's talking about avowed exploration is so good that I'm almost surprised when there isn't a chest hidden behind a waterfall. Exactly. And this is what I was talking about in the initial review. And I know people were shocked that I gave it such a high score, but I said in the review, you're rewarded for your exploration. You feel fulfilled to clear out that fog of war and to look through every nook and cranny when you're in these zones. And there's usually something to find that the game isn't holding your hand and leading you to. And that's what makes it so good. And obviously the combat is fantastic as well. And I see G Shorter. Yo, Parris, are you excited for the anime Lazarus? Hell yeah, I'm excited for it. Watanabe's making it. It's by Watanabe-san, Cowboy Bebop, and the director of John Wick. Yeah. As soon as I heard that Watanabe was making that, I'm all in. I believe it's on Cartoon Network, right? Pretty sure it is. But yeah, I'm there day one for that. And Phil is saying, I put Avowed down for a bit to Monster Hunter, but I'll pick it back up again. Got a little stale for me. Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, I know Monster Hunter is a big deal. I have Monster Hunter. There's between work and being sick and all that, I'm really been lagging behind on stuff to play and do. But yeah, Monster Hunter is on my list as well. That's why I asked last week. I go, what's the best way to jump in? Do you jump in co-op right away, or is it good solo, etc.? But looking forward to playing that as well. And Bond Diesel, seems like some reviewers rush their Avowed playthrough from the way they talked about it. I get it. People are busy, but Avowed is a game best enjoyed on their own time. And I agree. And I talked about that during the review. I'm like, take your time. They gave us 2 weeks with the game before the review embargo. So no, I literally slow played it right up until right before we did the review on Kind of Funny. Because I was realizing that, yeah, this is a game to slow play. This is not something that you want to rush. But yeah, let me see what else we got here. Did you get an Expedition 33 code? I did. I do. And again, I've been so busy, I did not participate in the preview. I will fully admit that. I still have access to it, so I'll probably jump in and run through the preview. But no, I did not put any extensive time into it, unfortunately. Yeah, Jordan, I guess you're talking about Avowed. I've been spending 20 hours exploring each zone. Absolutely love Avowed. Yeah, and like I said, I love Avowed as well. And, we know it's eventually going to go to PlayStation. So I look forward to more people getting to play it as well. I think the initial numbers of it, not overwhelmingly smash hit great. They've been decent. I believe what they said, almost 6 million people have played it. So, and again, you can only go by what they say. It seems like Obsidian and Xbox is happy with those numbers, and it's good because I think it's a fantastic RPG. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And definitely looking, and again, it comes down to time, but definitely looking forward to a second playthrough at the hardest difficulty because that combat is fantastic. So definitely want to take advantage of that too. Now we're talking about Daredevil. So I see Jumps is saying Charlie Cox kills it in that preview. Look. Oh, you're talking about Expedition 33 because he's in it. No, you're right. But since you bring up Charlie Cox, I'm going to talk about Daredevil, Born Again. I'm so biased. Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil has just been my favorite Marvel content, ever since it premiered. And to now have, through all these years, all the fan petitions and just Charlie Cox's love for it, Vincent D'Onofrio's love for it, to go through all these iterations. He was on Spider-Man No Way Home. You had Hawkeye, Echo, all that, to finally now, even after they had to reshoot and rewrite, a lot of it because the direction they were going was not faithful to the Netflix show, and to now essentially get season 4 of the Netflix show, I am just absolutely in love with it. And again, I won't spoil anything for people that haven't watched it, but those first 15 minutes were intense. And it set the tone that, yes, this is the Netflix universe, but now we're going to take these characters in a different direction. And I'm for it. I love the diner scene because it clearly was inspired by Heat, between Matt and Fisk, just sitting down, these mortal enemies, having a reasonable, rational conversation and kind of setting the tone for where they currently are and where we know they're going to head. Both of them denying who they really are. You know what I mean? Matt's trying to not be Daredevil anymore. Fisk is trying to not be Kingpin anymore. But we know they both are going to fall back into exactly who they are as far as being Daredevil and being Kingpin. And I can't wait. The Vanessa factor in this is fascinating to me as well. So obviously Muse, this new villain, that I think we got a little tease towards in the first couple episodes. It's great. It's going to be so good. Is it 100% the Netflix show? No, but it reminded me enough of the Netflix show that I'm excited to see them try and take it in a slightly different direction, because it has been some years since season 3 of Daredevil, so it would only make sense that these characters have evolved during that time. So let's see where it goes. But huge fan. I cannot wait for the series to play out. Like I jokingly told Tim over at Kind of Funny, I'm like, look, I don't need to be on In Review every week, but the finale, I'll fly up to San Francisco, we do it in studio, the whole thing, because I would love to be able to talk about this once we get the full season 1 out, and see what we have to look forward to for season 2. Let's see, what else do we have here? And I appreciate everybody here. And Game Seeker with, I believe that's $2 Canadian. Thank you so much. Who's a bigger Daredevil fan, you or Victor Lucas? I don't know about Victor. I've seen a couple things of him talking about Daredevil. I will shamelessly say I got to be in the top 5 for sure. And here's the reason why. I was not a Daredevil guy as a kid. I didn't read the comics, anything. It was the Netflix show that got me into Daredevil. And I've gone back and read some of the Daredevil comics. And obviously, because I knew season 3 was inspired by Born Again, the comic series. So I read all of that. It's fantastic. It's Daredevil. Like I said, he went from not really being on my radar, I knew who Daredevil was, to being one of my favorite comic book characters over the past few years. Oh, yeah, went blurry here. I got to fix this camera thing. It's my background, and I need to invest in fixing that. So let me change that. Why is it not focusing? There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's the door. I got to figure out something to put in front of that door, because that's why it's the reflection that comes off of that door, and the camera will pick it up, unfortunately. No, I will not be a Kind of Funny today. I'm in Southern California. They're in San Francisco. Honestly, I am going to be up in San Francisco during GDC week, on the really just the first day, and leaving early on the second day. But it's more of a father-son thing, because we're taking my son up to San Francisco. He's a huge Golden State Warriors fan, and he's never seen them play up in San Francisco. So we're going to go to, it's going to be the Warriors and Nuggets on the 17th. So we're going to go to that game. Again, I'll be around the area of GDC, but unfortunately he needs to get back for college stuff. So won't be spending a lot of time up there. So I might go to the studio on the 17th, but that's still TBD. We'll see. But I'll eventually be up at the studio again, I'm sure. Yeah, the camera hates Daredevil. Yeah, maybe he does. Got a bunch of close-ups of Parris' hand. Should be able to access his vault now. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of fun when I'm in studio. It's just, hey, got my real day job responsibilities, and like I said, I don't live in the area, so when I get a chance to go up there, I definitely do, and I want to make it more of a thing to at least be up there like 3 or 4 times a year, when it makes sense. Obviously, at the beginning of the year when we do the drafts and all that, I was there. I'll figure out something here probably during the summer into the later year to show up as well. So we'll see. And what time is it here? Okay, we still got a little bit of time here. Any other questions or things that people are interested in? I'm just honestly just riffing here. What do we have? Have you been enjoying any? Yeah, I was just talking about this before. I have not actually played it yet. I will soon. I have it. And Chales asked me, LeBron and Luka gonna go all the way. I mean, obviously, as a Laker fan, I hope so. But I still can't believe Dallas did that trade. I just can't believe it, because now you are seeing a 40-year-old LeBron just unlocked because of Luka. Luka gets to be the primary ball handler. LeBron gets to play off ball. I mean, and when Austin Reeves is playing, it's like you got 3 dudes at any time that can be the primary ball handler, and they can create their own shot, and they can just go get buckets. So yeah, we don't have a lot of size, in the middle from center wise, obviously trading AD, but I'm so excited for the playoffs to see how that's going to play off. I'm already saving my pennies because I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to a few of these playoff games. When that all that goes down. So very excited for it as a Laker fan. It's like, I don't know, the rich just gets richer. Like the fact that Dallas came to us and said, "Hey, we want to give you Luka." You do that trade 100 out of 100 freaking times, no hesitation. Just it's wild that it went down. And Matt's asking me, have I checked out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2? No, I've not. I purposely refrained myself from that one just because I knew I was busy. I wasn't going to have enough time. I knew Avowed was coming. I wanted to play Avowed, stuff like that. So unfortunately, I've not played it. So that one will have to go on my backlog. If LeBron wins another ring, he's better than Jordan objectively. It makes it, in my opinion, if he gets ring 5 at 40, now I think we can have a real conversation about LeBron being the GOAT. I think LeBron is the GOAT of longevity. Obviously, being able to play at a top 5 level for 2022. Am I saying this right? 2022 years. God, I can't even talk. But being able to play at this level for so long as a top 5 talent is insane. You know what I mean? So to me, he's number 2. Me and my son argue about this all the time. And what I tell him is, it's like, I saw Jordan play with my own 2 eyeballs. I saw Magic, I saw Bird, I saw everybody play in their primes. Jordan was just different, period. He was just different. But LeBron obviously is special. And to see what he's done has been amazing. And, it's not a discredit to LeBron to say that he's the second greatest player of all time. And his resume is not done yet, to the point. He wins another title. Let's say he plays till he's 42 years old, wins another title, winds up scoring damn near 60,000 points. And the numbers and the championships at that point kind of makes it undeniable, but we'll see. I just know the greatest player I ever saw play with my own 2 eyes was Michael Jordan. I mean, no, he didn't play the 22 years that LeBron has played, but in the time that he did play, it was just special, man. It was different. And let's just play this again. Say that there. Just keep that going. Jordan pushed off. Did he? I don't think he pushed off. He didn't push off from buying Russell. He used Russell's momentum and helped him to keep going. I know what you're talking about. That final shot in Utah in 98. Yeah, that was seeing that. Again, it's like moments like that you saw live. It wasn't a YouTube video or something like that. It's just ingrained, it's just ingrained into my memory. And what's going on, TK Cole? How you doing? And damn, Parris choosing Jordan over LeBron as a GOAT. Yeah, again, I watched him play, man. It was so funny. In 1984, because I have family in Chicago, and I remember we went to Chicago that winter of 84, and I'll never forget people talking about Michael Jordan. Like there was already billboards and posters, and just he had already changed the culture just in that short period of time, just those few months. Because remember, NBA season started maybe October of 84, and it was December of 84, and people were already going, yeah, this Jordan dude's different. And like I said, I will never forget all the battles. I would see him and Dominique at the Omni in Atlanta watching on TBS or whatever, man. It's just, there's just so many memorable moments that I have with Jordan. Like, I'll never forget 89, the shot over Elo. That was me and my buddies. We'd always get together at one of our houses, and we'd have Tecmo Bowl tournaments, right? And we played Tecmo Bowl, but we had stopped the Tecmo Bowl tournament to watch, I guess that was a game 5 or whatever it was, but the shot over Elo, to for the Bulls to beat the Cavs. And I remember jumping up, falling, and hitting my head. It's just a moment, because we're all just screaming, like we couldn't believe, like, this dude was just, he was an alien, man. He was just like from another world with how good he was and how skilled he was. So that's why I got Jordan as the GOAT. Like, if you ask me, my top 5, here's my top 5. And I know this will probably be controversial as well, but my top 5 is Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Magic. And I know people will not agree with this. I got the Black Mamba. I got Mamba 5, and that's just, again, me having watched Kobe from 96 on, to the end. The dude was the closest thing we ever saw to Michael Jordan, and That's just me. You could argue putting Wilt there. You could argue Duncan. You can argue Bird, people like that. But that's my top 5 for me, Steph is at the back end of my top 10. And again, his resume is not done either, he's definitely in the top 10 now. There were some years there where he was not. But I would say after he got that last title, I probably got him around about 8 or 9 up in there somewhere. Oh, the Lakers don't suck, my friend. The Lakers are the premier franchise in basketball. Don't get that twisted. What people call luck, I call destiny. That's why we got Luka. You know what I mean? It's just gonna keep it going. The Mavs said, you know what? We got to keep this Laker dynasty going. So here's a Luka, this generational player that's gonna keep y'all in the title contention for the next decade. Here you go. Congratulations. Let's see. Oh, I mean, Akeem. Now, see, the thing with Akeem, I think at his peak was a short prime, if that makes sense, because there was a stretch there from probably 92 to 95. Akeem was an effing problem. I will never forget. I guess that would have been the 94 Western Conference Finals. Because it was did David Robinson win MVP? It was something where he got the scoring title or something. It was something about David Robinson, where David Robinson was considered the best big man at the time. And that Western Conference Final, Akeem put on a clinic. Google it, YouTube it, whatever. Go watch it. That dream shake was lethal. Then Akeem was a problem. Akeem is probably, I can't put him over Kareem, but he is second or third most skilled big man we've ever seen. Because when I think of big men, I think of Kareem 1. Obviously, you have no choice but to put Wilt there. Moses. A lot of people sleep on Moses Malone. Hakeem. Clearly, David Robinson's in that conversation. You think Patrick Ewing. Who else am I thinking of? Just skill. Shaq. Duh. How am I leaving Shaq out of all of this? Shaq's in there somewhere as well. But again, Shaq, as good as Shaq was, Shaq should have been way better than he was. Shaq should be in the GOAT conversation. He says it himself, because if he would have had the work ethic that Kobe did, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, if Shaq and Kobe never broke up, if they would have got along and Shaq had the work ethic that Kobe did, they get 7 or 8. I don't care what nobody tells me. They get 7 or 8. Because Shaq would have been in shape. He wouldn't have been getting injured towards the back end of his career. Kobe was ascending into his prime. They literally would have went from Shaq as Batman, Kobe's Robin. They would have met in the middle, and then it would have switched. Now Kobe's Batman, Shaq's Robin. They could have had a run from probably about 96 to 2010. I'm telling you, they get 7 or 8. They would have got 7 or 8. That's just, call me biased, call me crazy, whatever, but they would have got 7 or 8. They are the greatest duo in basketball history. Can't nobody tell me different. Let's see. Favorite power forward, Chris Webber. And Webber's another one, man, where he should have been more than what he was. He obviously had a great run with the Kings, but the criticism that he always got was he ran away from the big shot. I mean, go look it up for yourself. That would be the criticism on Chris Webber. He ran away from the big shot. He was passing it off to Baby Ostojakovic. He was not taking the big shot when he was with Sacramento. And if he'd have been more assertive, they might have beat the Lakers. I guess that would have been 0-1 when it went 7. Let's see here. No, and I don't denounce Jordan and Pippen. We obviously know Jordan and Pippen were fantastic as well. I mean, that goes without saying. Clearly the greatest scorer and one of the best defensive guys, greatest scorer, obviously, in Jordan, and one of the best defensive guys ever in Pippen. And Jordan clearly was no slouch defensively either. So, yeah, I mean, because if you go back to, I guess that was 91, when they played the Lakers, and they wound up beating them in 5, and obviously the Lakers won Game 1 in Chicago, and then Phil Jackson made the switch. He put Pippen on Magic, and Pippen put the handcuffs on him, locked him up. I mean, that's just how good they was. You had 2 elite wing defenders. You had a great elite scorer in Jordan, and obviously all the supporting cast that they had. I mean, yeah, I take nothing from those Bulls. The funny thing about the Bulls is people obviously gravitate towards the 96 team as the greatest one ever because they won the 70 games and the title and all that, right? The 92 Bulls is probably the greatest basketball team ever. When it was prime, Jordan's at the peak of his powers, Pippen's at the peak of his powers, Horace Grant was at the peak of his powers. A lot of people sleep on Horace, man, but Horace was a key cog in that initial three-peat. BJ Armstrong, it's just, they were loaded. They were absolutely loaded that year. And to me, that is the best basketball team ever. That's the team that I would put historically up against anybody, up against, what was it, 2018, 2019 Warriors, all that. You know what I mean? Let's see. What else do we have? Yeah, Jolly Nerd. Yeah, Grant is a GOAT supporting player, maybe not main, but exactly, he did the dirty work, and that's the thing that people don't realize with Horace Grant. Horace Grant was the one doing all the dirty work, and he could score. He was a viable scoring threat, especially from the mid range and in the post as well. So yeah, that's why when he left, that's when obviously Jordan retired and all that, but then he came back, and Horace went to Orlando, and that unlocked Orlando with, young Shaq, Penny, obviously Dennis Scott, Nick Anderson, all those guys. And then, Horace was the leader of that team. And obviously he had some incentive because he wanted to show up the Bulls. And, historically, we always conveniently let go of that 95 season with the Bulls. We just excuse it, even though Jordan did come back. I think he played 17, 18 games or something the regular season and got bounced in the second round of the playoffs. We always excuse that one when it comes to the championship stuff. But he was there. I saw it. I was in Japan at the time, and I remember watching those games, and Orlando legitimately beat the Bulls. Golden State with Durant. Yes, I saw, and that's what I'm saying. That's the funny thing with, can't believe this turned into basketball talk. This is why I need to just do a basketball podcast. I swear to God, because I can talk this shit all day. Hold on, let me adjust this camera, and I apologize. I'm going to fix this. I promise. But go back to the run with Durant. Even the first 2 years when he won the title. There was no guarantees that were happening at that time. People act like they just cakewalked through the playoffs. Houston legitimately had them. Legitimately should have beat them. They were a Chris Paul hamstring pull away from beating the Warriors. And let's not forget, Durant, well, this was before, and then you had the 70 win team with Golden State where Durant and Westbrook were up 3-1. They should have beat them. You know what I mean? So we have a little bit of revisionist history on that. Let's not forget LeBron in that game one of that one finals, where, again, one of the greatest scoring games I've ever seen from one player when he dropped 51 on the Warriors and should have beat them if it wasn't for J.R. Smith. And then LeBron broke his hand and it was never the same after that. As much as a cheat code as the Warriors were during that time, they were vulnerable. And obviously the third year, Durant, tears, he had the calf injury and tried to rush it back towards Achilles. And that was a wrap at that point. Clay got hurt in the game 6 and they were never the same. I actually give Golden State more credit that once Durant left 2022 and Steph took them to the title and was finals MVP. Again, the Warriors, that Warriors run, I mean, they're one of the greatest dynasties ever. Don't get it twisted at all. All I'm saying is individual teams at the peak of their powers, they could be got. You think about, am I thinking about the 01 Lakers or the 2000 Lakers? 01 or the 2000 Lakers, peak of their powers, right? Obviously the 85 Lakers. You think about the 86 Celtics, again, the 92 Bulls or the 96 Bulls, whatever you want. Take that 18 or 19 Warriors team. I mean, it's not a guarantee just because you win 70 games and make you the greatest team of all time. So yeah, I and again, these are all what ifs because you're talking eras and different styles and all that. I get it, but yeah, I personally think the 92 Bulls is the greatest basketball team ever. But that's just me. Right, they cakewalked in 2017. Wait. See, now I hope my memory's not bad. So 16 was when LeBron got him, right? And we came back from 3-1. And then 17 was with Durant. Am I remembering this correctly? And then 18, they almost lost to Houston. And then 19, they obviously lost, to Toronto, if I'm remembering correctly. So you might be right. 2017 might have been more of a cakewalk for them in the playoffs. So maybe I'm misremembering a little bit on that. So yeah, maybe it's the 2017 team that you want to put up against the greatest of all time. Yeah, Clay should have been in the top 75. That's why I loved people. Didn't he like wear like a 77 jersey or something like that, kind of mocking it? Clay should have been in the top 75. Yeah, I have my biases when it comes to it. I am not the biggest James Harden fan. I don't like his style. And I know he just dropped 50 last night, but I've never been a James Harden fan just because I don't like his game. I just never. And I know that's me being extremely petty and biased, but I would have put Clay in over Harden, me personally. But I think the biggest omission was Dwight. Dwight should have been a top 75 player. The disrespect of Dwight Howard is ridiculous because he was the best big man after Shaq. He had that stretch where he was the best defensive player. He was a top 5 player. Sure, could his offensive game have been better? But he drugged that Orlando team and legitimately beat LeBron and got to the finals and lost to the Lakers in, what was that, 2009. So, he is disrespectful to Dwight. He should have been a top 75 player out of anybody that didn't make that list, in my personal opinion. Nah, KD's not going to go to the Lakers. The way the new salary cap works and the aprons and all of that, you essentially can only have 2 max players on your team at any one time, or it just strangleholds your ability to build a roster with them. That's the problem with the Suns right now, because you got Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal, 3 max players, and you're trying to do it with a bunch of UPS drivers, to fill out the rest of the roster. Doesn't work. You know what I mean? So that's why KD's going to get traded, because they're not going to trade Booker. Honestly, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm like, trade me, get me the hell out of here. And I'm sorry about this camera, man. I don't know why it keeps grabbing out of focus. Again, stupid door. I apologize. And let me fix that. Why is it not? See, now it's not even focusing. Sorry. This looks horrible. This is terrible. That's freaking terrible. But, yeah, I lost my complete train of thought on that stupid camera. But we're talking about KD and the Suns and all that and the aprons. Yeah, if anything, I think KD winds up going to the Timberwolves if they got the right enough assets. I don't know if they do, but that probably makes the most sense for KD. I know they were talking about the Mavs are a disaster at this point, so who the frick knows with them, but we'll see. And this camera keeps going out of focus. I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and end this. I don't think OKC probably should get Durant. I mean, he gets to come home. They clearly got the assets. They could keep all their core players and still be able to acquire him. But I'm not sure if they do, unless they really flame out in the playoffs this year. So we'll see. But I'm going to end the stream. And the next time I come on here, I'm going to fix the stupid camera. So I do apologize for that. But I do appreciate you all hanging out here with me. And I'll answer this last one. Did I watch Court of Gold? Absolutely. It was fantastic. I love it. Court of Gold highlights why everyone hates the NBA All-Star game right now, because you see what these dudes can do when they try, right? So maybe it's just we have to rely on the Olympics to actually get some great All-Star basketball moving forward. So, all right, but I'm going to end this. I appreciate you all being here,